Good Monday morning to you, everyone. And so yesterday we had, or tried, or attempted to have a live Mica memorial on the anniversary of her death, and had some issues, connective issues that were just outrageous. I don't know if it was weather related or if it was StreamYard, but we did do a show on Rumble, and I was able to upload it onto YouTube. And looking at the numbers, it doesn't look like many had either got the notification, or maybe all of you went over to Rumble. I'm not sure. I haven't even looked. But there were a few things that I did want to touch on in regards to the articles that I shared yesterday. Now, again, there was new news regarding Mica's law. If you want to hear about that, well, then, as I said, the video is available on YouTube and on Rumble. And I think that they're going to use this law. I believe the law is going to go through May 8th. And when it does, this will ensure charges against John Paul Miller. Now, why will this ensure charges? Because I've said it from the beginning, and I'll say it again, okay? Because sometimes we need reminders. Time goes on and we get busy with our lives and we forget. That's okay. All of us do that. John Paul Miller will be found responsible for Mica's death no matter what happened on that day. And if you remember, I did a video called He Painted Himself into a Corner. And why did he paint himself into a corner? Because of the coercive control. Let's just go with the narrative that she did do this to herself. Although we have no evidence to prove it, we have evidence to prove the opposite or otherwise. Let's just say, for argument's sake, she did. If she did, with this coercive control bill going into effect, I believe May 8th it will, this will prove that he pushed her to that point. And then he can be found guilty. And if you remember, I said up to 10 years in prison. Now, of course, if he hired somebody or did it with his own hand, then we're talking about murder, and we know that that will be life in prison. So either way, this man is facing prison. He's not going to get out of it either way. And being in his mid-40s, even 10 years could really take a toll on him. And who's to say more charges won't be put on him while he's imprisoned? So that's possible as well. Now, why do I say this? Because there's a couple of things that have come to my attention in the past 24 hours after doing the show we did yesterday. Now, once again, we've gone over and have proven that the ammunition that she purchased on that day was not used. Obviously, Robeson County agrees with us because they didn't show it. And so some people say, well, how do you know that the gun itself, when she purchased it, wasn't loaded? Well, if you look at the video, now somebody named, she's a host on TikTok named Tree. She had brought to my attention that on the video for the pawn shop, you can tell the salesman behind the counter goes through, opens the weapon, and clears it before putting it in the case. So what does that mean? It was not loaded at the time of purchase. So where'd the bullet come from? She didn't buy it. Wasn't in the weapon at the time of purchase. So where'd it come from? Nobody has that answer. Nobody has that answer as of yet. Maybe the feds do have that answer. The point is, the ones she purchased were not used. The end. There's no getting around that. So that's the first thing. The second thing was, we had talked about an online protest. So a lot of us were hoping that yesterday was going to be the day of arrests. And I can understand we all wanted to see justice. I do too. I'm with you on all of that. But I want the job to be done correctly. I want there to be no stone unturned. I want there to be no way any defense lawyer can go in, federal defense lawyer even, and try to even find a loophole or a sliver of hope to get him out of this trouble. And, that's their job. So I'm sure the feds feel the same. And so they're building a very sturdy case, indefensible. With that being said, I believe that maybe an online protest again wouldn't hurt. Why? Because at the time that we did the last online protest, the people that are in office now were not in office yet. And maybe they need some reminding. I mean, let's face it, this administration came into office and they had a lot to clean up. And they're in the middle of arresting, rogue judges and rogue politicians. And so they're quite busy dealing with a lot of illegal immigrants who are criminals, do not belong in this country. And do me a favor, if you don't agree with me, don't go into my chat. I don't want to hear about your protection of criminality. I'm not interested. Because in the mood I'm in today, I might just blast you. And why am I in a bad mood today? Because 10 years ago today, my brother-in-law passed away, 44 years old, to a war that should have never happened in the first place. So I'm not there today to take anybody's abuse. I'm here to find justice for people who don't have a voice. So I'm their voice. And during the time that they were alive, they weren't allowed to use their voice. They were silenced. You're not going to silence me. You can forget it. Don't even try. So, and that's to the flying monkeys and the king of flying monkeys and probably the queen that are listening right now. I'm absolutely fed up with having to wait for you to suffer the consequences. Trust me. I wake up every morning in hopes to find that you have been imprisoned. I pray about it every day. I talk to God about it all the time. And I'm sure I'm not alone. So it will happen. We will see justice. Don't get too comfortable in the time that passes by, because that's exactly the strategy that God uses. He makes sure that you get comfortable in thinking, it's never going to happen. They're not going to come for me. And then bam, there they are at your door. So don't get too comfortable, because too many people are watching. And we're not going to let go of this case. I know I'm not. So it will happen. Just when is only God knows. But I think an online protest would probably keep the authorities on their toes. And so we were trying to figure out what platform would it be easy for everyone to copy and paste the daily online protests, and then you copy and paste it on your, pages, whatever platforms you use, and then make sure you tag the authorities that you feel need to be tagged. Now, again, and I know I have to reiterate this for some, if there are people on my list you don't like or agree with, take them off. I don't want to hear about how you don't like them and you don't agree with them. I'm not interested in your political stances. Couldn't care less. Don't be part of the protest then. But if you want to be part of the protest and you really are seeking justice, all you have to do is copy and paste it and put it on your pages and tag the people you feel need to be aware every day that we are seeking justice. Makes sense to tag the FBI. Makes sense to tag the Department of Justice. It makes sense. But I'll let you decide that. So we're trying to figure out where you guys could easily copy and paste on a daily basis. And so I think Facebook. Everybody mostly has Facebook. I don't know any people that don't have it. And so Creator to Class magazine has a page on Facebook. And so what I'll do is I'll put the online protest on there. And don't worry, I'm going to make the same announcement on TikTok as well, so they'll know. And that way, as I said, you can copy paste it and add it to Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you want to add it. The more, the better. But there has to be consistency. I'm going to do this daily. And it needs to be done daily. Now, what happens when you tag these people? Well, when they open up their accounts, just like when we get notified that we've been tagged to something, they'll get the same notification. And so they'll see the name Mica Francis Miller every single day. It'll be in their minds. They'll expect it. So that's what we want. We want them to be thinking about her. We want them to look into the case. We want them to be aware that we are seeking justice. The louder we are about it, the more, flames we put under the rear ends of the authorities. If we let it go cold, they'll let it go cold. And there'll be other cases that they need to cover, and they'll just start investigating them. We don't want that to happen. We didn't do all this work for nothing. We didn't get to this point just to watch John Paul Miller and his cohorts walk around thinking they got away with murder. So I'm going to start putting it on Facebook. Now, how will you know that it's up? You'll see it on whatever platform you're on, whether it's on YouTube or, Facebook, if you follow me on Facebook. And I suggest to find me, Creator to Class magazine, on Facebook at this point and follow. You'll see it on TikTok. You'll see it on Twitter. And that'll prompt you to know, okay, there it is. She put up the online protest. Let me go copy and paste. You're talking about something that's going to take 5 minutes of your time. That could be a lifelong consequence for the people who harmed her. So I don't know if I'm going to start it today or I'll start it tomorrow, but I'm going to start it. Today is, like I said, is my brother-in-law's 10-year anniversary of being gone, so I might have to be there for my sister. Tomorrow is my daughter-in-law's birthday, so I'm making a big dinner for her. So I may start on Wednesday. I'm just giving you a heads up to know to look for it. And so those are the things I wanted to cover. And I did want to apologize for all the technical difficulties we had yesterday. The song, I was very disappointed on how Mica's song had such bad volume and so many volume issues. I have no idea what happened. It might be because it was a Sunday and everybody's home from work, in my area. And maybe there was just very heavy traffic online at the time. I don't know. I have no idea, but it was just such a mess. But we were able to get our message out. And so for anybody who hasn't seen it, the Mica Miller Memorial video is up on YouTube and it is available on Rumble for you to see. And so I just wanted to make that announcement. And there, like I said, at the end of the video, there is new news that came out a few days ago. That is the beginning of us getting justice. And I believe that might be the catalyst that, is the pivotal moment that will bring us the justice we're looking for. And I think it's strategic, very strategic, because if this bill had gone in 2020, Mica's law, or a coercive control bill, or if it had gone in 2021, okay, granted, they might have put an addendum in under Mica. But I think this time, because Regina Ward, that being, was able to add, you know, more on the list that really had more to do with the abuse that Mica went through. This is really going to help us get the justice we're seeking. He won't be able to escape this. No escape. So I pray in the name of Jesus Christ, and maybe all of us will just be in agreement that on May 8th, third time's a charm, this coercive control bill will go through. And that's what we need. Let me see. So Mary says, I use Facebook group, Facebook page, and X, and now have Rumble account. Online protests, yes, awesome, wonderful. And it's so sorry for your family's loss and the anniversary of your brother's. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you. It was a very serious. I don't know if you guys heard of Burn Pits 360. A lot of the military, when they went out to Iraq, they were working on these burn pits. I guess they were burning waste and whatnot. And a lot of the men came back with mouth and throat cancer. Now, my brother-in-law didn't smoke a cigarette, didn't do a drug, had an occasional drink here and there. But, just, was a clean guy. I mean, he was in the military. He was still active duty, as a matter of fact, when he passed away. And he just got this big mass in his throat, between the mouth and the throat. And they did everything they could to save him. But yeah, April 28th, 2015, we had lost him that morning. And what was really weird was April 27th is a date that all of us remember one way or another. It's related to Mica, obviously. My best friend's husband had passed away April 27th, 2023. And April 27th, 2015, my brother-in-law just seemed like he was snapping out of it, like he was going to make it. He had a wonderful day. Drove his car for the first time in months. He had bought this brand new candy apple red, I think they called it California Edition Red Mustang 5.0. It was a gorgeous car. And just purchased it, like I think a year before. It sat in the garage the whole time he was sick. And then here he, drove the car, and he was in better spirits. We really honestly thought that he was going to be great. Everything was going to work out, and he was going to get better. And I guess it was just a good day before he passed away the next morning on April 28th. So what does Susan Lee says here? Stephen Goldfinch is sponsored for Mica's law. Kept wondering why he seems so familiar. Goldfinch was Tom Winslow's law firm partner until after he went into politics. Well, we can't think badly about Tom Winslow. I nothing's really ever proven that Tom Winslow had anything to do with Mica's demise. He did step away from John Paul Miller at one point, realizing that he was just poisonous. And Stephen Goldfinch is not the only one looking to get this law into effect. There's other representatives who have been trying to push this for years, 5 or 6 years. They've been trying to get it to be a law. But I think now, in light of Mica, and especially this entire year, there's been such a you got to see, yesterday they had a walk in her name around Market Common. They had the protest, God bless him. And I heard John Paul didn't even show up to church. And then they had something going on at the beach. It was like a bonfire or something. So there was a lot of stuff going on regarding Mica all over social media all day long. And then, of course, we had our show at 2:45 yesterday. So it's just as intense now as it was right after she passed away. So the pressure is there, and that's why I feel the online protests, especially going into May 8th, is important. I mean, listen, tag those people in South Carolina, tag Lindsey Graham, tag Goldfinch, tag them all. You know, if you're from South Carolina, especially Myrtle Beach, tag those representatives. Tag them and let them know you're watching. Remember, it's we the people, not them the people. Okay? So it's time for this law to go into effect. And I'll tell you what, when that law goes into effect May 8th, if I were John Paul Miller, I'd be quiet. I'd stay in my house and keep to myself. And I would include your flying monkeys in that one, because that's really going to make it very difficult for you when the time comes and you have to defend yourself. Your flying monkeys are going to make it very difficult for you to defend yourself. If anything, they've made it worse for you. Luke Rankin, Judiciary Committee Chair. Okay, so let me. SCW says tag Luke Rankin. I absolutely agree. So let's just make it a date that April 30th, and I'll put it in my calendar right now as I sit here. On Wednesday, April 30th, we will start the protests. Again, you will find it on the one that you can copy and paste. You will find on Creator to Class Magazine on Facebook. And then make it your own. Tag everybody that you want. I'm going to tag, as she said, Luke Rankin, Lindsey Graham. I'm going to tag the FBI, the DOJ, the DEA, the U.S. Marshals, the President, the Vice President, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and probably a couple of news outlets as well, to let them know. Maybe Fitz News, Newsweek also covered Mica's story. People Magazine covered Mica's story. New York Post covered Mica's story. So it may not hurt to tag them as well. And also whoever is local in Myrtle Beach who has covered this story. So that's right. She's right. Cindy is right. Everyone needs to remember they work for us, not us working for them. Amen. Amen, Cindy. Right on. So thank you for joining me, guys, today. And as I said, and I probably will be back tomorrow. Who knows what, you never know. Like I said, I'm going to be cooking tomorrow. So if I don't come on, that's why. But I did want to come on this morning. I did want to tell you, in case you want to go look at that video, and I'm sure you could find it somewhere on YouTube, of the pawn shop. Tree says that there's a camera that's over. Let me just put this here too. Tag Thomas Britton. Okay. Thank you for that, SCW. If you look there's a camera over the salesperson at the pawn shop, and he's, I guess, fiddling with the weapon before he puts it in the case. And as he's doing that, she says he opens it, checks to make sure it's not loaded, and then puts it into the case for her. And she makes the purchase. So this absolutely, now I haven't looked at the video myself. I just took her word for it. She knows about these things much more than I do. So that's why I took her word for it. And if that be the case, then that means it was not loaded. So we know she did not use her own ammunition. Where did it come from then? And so again, this is just more proof that she didn't do this to herself. But okay, we've been there and done that. We've made that very clear. So I just wanted to make sure that was out there. So, okay, so we're going to start this Wednesday the 30th. As I said, you will see, I will make a notification. You'll see it. If you pay attention to me on YouTube, You'll see it show up on YouTube. If you follow the magazine on Facebook, you'll see it on Facebook. You'll see it on TikTok. You'll see it on my Twitter account. And I'm also going to incorporate Instagram this time. And thank you guys for joining me and being part of this protest. I believe that it's very important, and I think that it's going to make a difference. So anyway, thank you for joining me this morning. And if you're seeing this in the after the live, thank you for also joining us in the online protest. And thank you guys for everything, all the support that you give me. I really do appreciate it. Let me just say, Susan Lee says, and I agree on Tom Winslow. He walked away from both JP and the church. I found interesting. He stood up to JP, and I can imagine Yard JP having an ant fit in the lawn. Yeah, I'd rather not see that again. Thank you. Anyhow, thank you guys for joining me. And until I see you again, stay safe and God bless.